So let's say you found the skeleton. How would you tell it's a dinosaur? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
Hey everybody, welcome to Jackson with Jackson 44. Darwin is the better Charles. Because of course Darwin is in fact the better Charles. He might not be the best Charles. He's definitely the better Charles among him and Charles Jackson. I am here, of course, with good Jackson, Jackson Wheat of the channel Jackson Wheat. It's an easy channel to find if you're looking for it, because it's literally your name. Yep, that's you.
Yeah, that's me. I am Jackson of the Wheats.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep. Good job. You are staple food for much of the world, although not as much of the world as rice.
Well, I'm also a fan of rice, so I understand. I
Okay.
like rice quite a bit. I had rice in one of my meals just today. So
Nice. I had rice yesterday. In fact, I polished off one of the bags of rice that was purchased for me by fans, and I am now down to but a singular bag of rice, which means that for a short time only, my general request that people not send me rice is currently rescinded. And if you do want to send me a bag of rice, feel free. It's on my wish list. It's linked in the description if you want to. But only probably until I get a couple bags of rice. Then I'm going to say, nope, don't send rice anymore. So, like, I don't know, get in while the getting's good, if that's a thing you
so
like to do.
nice. You could say it rice.
Yeah. Yes. Sapphire Nincompoop Light, who's been a member for 39 months and is at the Abneo level, says, this is the better Charles with a Godzilla, which we will take a drink for. Thank you very much, Sapphire. Alright. So, Jackson, how you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Doing pretty good.
Alright. Well, so there's a couple things I want to go through before we actually get into the drinking rules and then onto the video. But hopefully they will.
There's the wall on your left.
Bruce Wayne says, what kind of rice? I have some basmati rice just on my wish list. If there's a particular kind of rice that you super specifically like really want me to have or something, you can message me about it and I'll add it to the wish list or something. Tasha for $5 says, Charles Darwin is better than Charles in Charge 2. AIG is a sack of Scott potatoes. Take a drink, thank you. Okay, so first of all, we do have a chat goal. So today, I bought myself a $60 bottle of champagne, which is not like, you know, the top end champagne. But for someone who generally doesn't drink wine and who's not a huge fan of champagne generally, it's a pretty hefty champagne purchase for me, you know? Now,
Yeah.
if you want to know why I have bought this anticipatory bottle of champagne, and why I think it might be a good time for you to do so too, all you have to do is help us get to that super chat goal. Now, the super chat goal has to be teal, so that's the $5 and up tier if you are in the US of A. It goes to different numbers depending on your currency.
And in fake countries, some of them it is also teal.
Yeah, well, €5, I think, £5, I think, is also teal.
Yeah, euros, right?
But like it varies. So yeah, that's what that is. Let's see. Also, there was something else. Maybe there isn't something else. Oh, right, no. So we are still trying to get the Dr. Kip Davis, the Mud Kip Davis emoji. And right now, I think we need, if YouTube isn't lying to me, which it very frequently is, about this particular subject, I think we need 61 new members. And it says I have 439 members, and according to the internet, at 500, I should be able to get another emoji. So if you want the Mudkip Davis emoji, send in some of those, because we don't have too much longer before a recent wave of those starts expiring. And most people who get gifted don't re-up, although some of them do. So if you want that, this would probably be a pretty good chance to get it if we can actually get to the 61, or since of course they lie, it probably, to pad it out, you might want to go a little higher, but hey, you don't have to. So those are the two things there. So Jackson, are you ready to hear about the drinking rules?
I am as ready as I will ever be.
All right, well, first of all, we will take a drink anytime someone gifts memberships up until we get to about 30 in a row or so, at which point I'm just going to down this beer and grab another one because I don't want to have to count out that many drinks. But we will increment the count with the appropriate number of times. Speaking of which, hey, good Jace, you have to double check your full name here. The Pasta Apostate has gifted 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships, so let's take 5 drinks. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And today I am drinking an amber ale. What are you drinking there, Jackson?
I have Gatorade.
All right. Has it got electrolytes?
Oh, yes. Gatorade has electrolytes. It's what plants crave.
Yeah, I've heard that. And I mean, you're like a botany guy or something, right?
Yeah, I enjoy plants.
Okay. So you know to water your plants with electrolytes.
Yes, it is what plants crave.
Okay.
Really?
For legal reasons, I am required to let you know that electrolytes are just salt, and if you water your plants with Gatorade, it will just salt the earth, and then no plants will grow. So, there you go. But Lieutenant Math Navigator has just gifted 5 more Dapper Dinosaur memberships, so let's take another 5 drinks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. So we will also take a drink if Dr. Charles Jackson is just so stupid that we need some brain coolant. Because you know what? That happens. We'll also take a drink if Dr. Charles Jackson actually gets something right where it's not just that he's reading off of some website or article or something. If he actually gets something factually correct from his own brain, and then articulates it with his own speech organs, we will take a drink. We'll also take a drink for any joke that he tells doesn't land, or for any story that he tells that we're pretty sure didn't happen. It's a bit of a judgment call, but here's the hint. The drink counter and the drink triggers, they're a lot like the points in Whose Line Is It Anyway? They don't really matter. It's just for fun, right? This is just here to have fun. Which is why I'm going to say now, which I should have said earlier, if you want to play along but you don't want to consume alcohol, that is absolutely fine. If you want to play along with water, juice, tea, coffee, soda, I don't know, kombucha. Does that count as tea? It's kind of like tea, right?
You're asking the wrong person.
All right, whatever. If you want to play along with any of these things, that is absolutely fine. A vape pen, I don't know, like you're eating goldfish and you take 1 goldfish for every drink. That's fine too. You want to like just high five someone next to you. That's also cool as long as, they're okay with that. All that stuff is great. The whole point of this is just to have fun and not to do anything that's going to be dangerous or bad for you. So, if you decide to consume anything that's intoxicating, please pace yourself, know your limits. Don't go too far overboard. Just be careful. Stay safe. Don't go out and drive, operate heavy machinery, fly an aircraft, text your ex, launch a rocket. Don't do any of those things, right? Because that's on you. You are being warned right now. All right, so we will also take a drink if Dr. Charles Jackson mentions that political party from the 1930s whose ideological inheritors are currently on the rise in the USA. We will also take a drink if Dr. Charles Jackson cites a source. We check that source, and not only does the source fail to support him, but it actively refutes him. We take a drink for that, too. We will also take a drink if either Jackson here, good Jackson here, or I can predict what Charles Jackson is going to be saying next, or just in the near future. That's just a correct prediction. We will also take a drink if Dr. Charles Jackson mixes up what we can know about Lucy from just that specimen with what we can know about any wider taxon to which she belongs. So, yeah, we call that ad hominid. We will also take a drink if anyone super chats or membership milestone chats anything with any of the kaiju emojis that we have. We have 3. We have Godzilla, we have Mothra, we have King Ghidorah, the big 3, if you will. At least the big 3 that Toho owns exclusively. I would argue Kong is one of the big ones, but Toho isn't the exclusive owners of Kong. Let's see. We will also take a drink if either Mothra or Godzilla come by audibly, which may or may not happen. And last, but I don't think least, and I think it is last, I'm not sure, honestly, but we will take a drink if I screw up the production. So, for instance, if I leave myself muted, or accidentally leave Jackson muted when we come back from a break or something, or if I accidentally switch to the wrong scene, or I forget to turn off the opening credits when we come back from intermission, or something like that, right? That's Dapper's a professional. Now, if it's software related or hardware related, like, there's a storm and the computer blows up, or YouTube headquarters collapses into the fiery pits of hell or something, not on me. That's out of my control. I don't control exploding computer lightning strikes, or which corporate offices get swallowed into the bowels of hell. That's another guy's job. Maddie, specifically, with the lightning at least. That's her job. So there you go. That is, as far as I remember, all of them. So we have a bunch of things to read because I was delaying until we got full of... got through all the drinking things. So Eve of Everything for $7.70 redo says, "You got me curious, and this is $5 USD. Well, thank you very much." Blue Collar Rausukit for $4.99 says, "AIG is a quiver full of man bolts. We will take a drink. Thank you very much." Jillian Wren for $5 says, "It's the end of the month, and I can now afford this since my children don't have orphanage pills and all, but it seems my membership expired." Hey, let's see if we can get Jillian Wren a new membership. That would also help with getting the new emoji. Let's see. It's... Oh, nope, already read that one. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, "I came to the stream from watching the latest from Almondo. I did not expect improvement, and I'll probably still be disappointed." Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of hope for Almondo's new book, but you know what? Maybe he'll surprise me, and I'm sure Logic will let me know if there is reason to be surprised. Rail got $2 for $2 says, "If this is whose line, I'll make bald jokes about Dapper Dinosaur." I mean, fair. Joshua Geese gifted 5 more memberships. Thank you so much. We are already almost a quarter of the way to me getting a fancy... Well, you guys getting a fancy avatar for my next video, which, by the way, is going to be about Roger from Mud Fossil U. So here's 5 drinks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 drinks. Ha, ha, ha. And Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, "Don't fly an aircraft or launch a rocket. As a man currently playing KSP, I feel attacked." Oh, it's fine if you do digital only aircraft or rockets. I have flown many a mission in KSP while under some pretty heavy chemical influences, and they've gone just fine. Because unlike real life, I have this thing called F5 and F9, which means it doesn't matter how bad I screw up, I will revert to a previous state and try a new timeline. So there you go. Jackson. Good Jackson.
That is me.
Are you ready to hear what Dr. Charles Jackson has to say to us now that he has told us that, according to him, all of the proposed vestigial structures in the human body have had some kind of function assigned to them, and that somehow that means that they're no longer vestigial, even though that doesn't at all mean that at all, then that's not what vestigial means. Are you ready?
I think that every time you have to take a drink, or like 5 or more drinks in one time, that you should count each of those in a different language.
No, because I would just have to start cycling through languages, because I don't know that many. I don't know how to count to 5 in 18 languages.
I mean, the internet exists.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
I feel like the people want to hear Dapper be a linguist.
Okay, but they can't because I'm not a linguist.
Oh, that's what you keep saying.
I would have to be doing some research in linguistics. I'm not.
But you could be counting to 5 in different languages every time.
Yes, I suppose technically that is true.
Yes. All right. Whew.
Sapphire Nincompoop Light for $5 says, here's to the bubbly being opened soon with a champagne, a trans, and a just general LGBTQ pride. And then kaiju emoji here. All right, that's fair enough. You're probably on a phone where they don't work very well. We'll take a drink for it. Hey, I agree. I hope the bubbly is open soon. And if you're not sure why, hey, just get that goal met. Roshina for $4.99 says, "What's the over-under on Almondo laundering plagiarism through ChatGPT? Should we monitor M-dashes?" You should absolutely monitor M-dashes. You should also wait for, it's not just X, but Y and Z. You should watch for a lot of that in Almondo's new book. I think there's a very, very good, but not 100% chance that Armando Calvo's book is mostly just him feeding in big sections of plagiarized text into ChatGPT or Grok or some other shoggoth wearing a mask and telling it, hey, summarize this in your own words. Tatcha for $5 says, exposing people to Ultra French counts as linguistic research and assault with the Godzilla. You are not wrong about that. Jeez, Ultra French. I don't even know if Jackson knows about Ultra French. Jackson, do you know what Ultra French?
Is it Ultra French?
Ultra French, yeah. It's like French, but Ultra.
Oh, I don't think so. No.
Oh no, I might have to share the cognito hazard with you. My condolences.
Is this like the last time when you were telling me not to look up
If
the
you
thing
can't,
where like letters?
no,
like,
don't say it. Don't say it, Jackson. But yes, it's kind of like that. It's a cognito hazard. Jeez. Trying to poison the entire audience. What did they ever do to you?
I don't know. I guess I'd have to think about it.
Exactly. All right. Now that we're done with Jackson trying to expose everyone to cognito hazards like some kind of containment breach anomaly, let's hit play and see what Charles Jackson has to say about the vestigial organs after I read this from Thierry Rana, who's been a member for 25 months and is at the amulet level. Jebediah Kerman blows up because of an engine installed the wrong way around. Just like the simulations. F9 with a Godzilla, an AIG, a Vagadex, and a Mothra emoji. I actually played some KSP earlier today because I needed it for the clip for the video I just put up in early access. That clip is in there. It's like times like 8 speed or something. But it's specifically there because I put it in my script that I wanted that to play over my voiceover. And yeah, I didn't actually record it. So in the middle of editing, I'm like, oh, I need to play a quick KSP mission. So I slapped together a moon rocket that's way over engineered, and I did a very inefficient flight, but who cares? I made it there and back. That was my entire goal. All right, now we're actually going to hit play, unless people want to keep super chatting to make sure we never actually have to watch.
Well, what's an evolutionist to do? We now know enough to know that they can't just hypothesize and lie about it anymore.
Imagine being Charles Jackson, someone who tells demonstrable lies all the time. All the time. To the point that either he's a colossal moron or he's extremely dishonest. And then being like, man, they lied about vestigial organs. When in fact, the person lying about vestigial organs is Charles Jackson by misinforming all of these people going to his talk about what that even means. The projection is unreal with Charles Jackson. He might be one of the worst of the creationist projectors.
So let's move on to something new that they don't know enough about. And so they decided, even if we didn't have junk organs, we have junk genes.
Well, first, we do have junk DNA. There's no such thing as a junk gene, because if it's a gene, it's producing a protein.
Maybe he means pseudogenes?
He probably doesn't know the difference between genes and any other region of the genome, right? He probably thinks
that's probably true, yeah.
Any part of the genome can be called a gene. Junk DNA, which is the term he should actually be using, is DNA that is non-functional, but not harmful. And it composes most of the human genome, probably about 80%, although it's actually probably a little bit higher, but like it's hard to say for certain. But we actually do have good ways to tell if something is definitely junk DNA or maybe not junk DNA. And we'll probably get into that, because the entire title of this talk is Junk DNA. And here we are, almost 12 minutes into it, and we're finally getting to the point. Of course, you and I, Jackson, are like 2 episodes into this, but maybe 3, I don't know. Got a couple things. Joshua Geese for $5 says, Charles Jackson, wishing so hard he was Tim Curry. I would much rather be watching Tim Curry give this. Tim Curry can actually chew the scenery in the way Charles Jackson wishes he could. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, Christ, I think I see the event horizon forming around him. Wait, Christ is here? Is it the Parousia already? The Jehovah's Witnesses were right. Actually, I'm premiering videos from Walter Veith. Jackson, are you familiar with Walter Veith?
I don't think so.
He's a Seventh-day Adventist, Holocaust denier. who also
no.
has declared that the second coming of Christ will be sometime before the end of 2027. So you best get right with Jesus, all y'all. And by that I mean become Seventh-day Adventists. I actually don't recommend that. Although if you want to, if that's the thing you want to do with your life, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. I don't care. MBZ4, who's been a member for 16 months, is at the tetrapod level, says AIG is a bag of junk organs. Well, first of all, I would contend that the dick is in fact not a vestigial or a junk organ because it's very important to the perpetuation of the species overall. However, I'll take a drink anyway. Neuromdiputz, who's been a member for 23 months and is at the tetrapod level, says DNA follows Sturgeon's law. I don't remember Sturgeon's law. I'm sorry. I now feel embarrassed. I don't think I remember that. It's also possible it's one of those things where, like, when I hear someone or read someone tell me what it is, I'll be like, oh yeah. It happens to me a lot. For $2, Rail Gatubello says, oh, F, Vythe. I didn't know he was a denier. Oh, yeah, no, he's the worst. Apparently, according to him, the whole thing was a conspiracy among the European powers to actually expel the Jews from Europe, but to give them the land of Palestine. Because I don't know. It is crazy. Both the Zionists and the anti-Zionists among, like, crazy religious extremist Christians, they both managed to be anti-Semitic, but in, like, coming from opposite directions with regards to Israel. It's one of the weirdest things. I don't get it. Pillowpunk for $5. I mean, I do actually. I just don't want to go into it because then I'll get sad. Pillowpunk for $5 says, my favorite cognitive hazard is the one where a bunch of tech bros scare themselves into effectively worshipping a purely hypothetical AI overlord. Oh yeah. That one's great. Rocco's Basilisk. Like, what if someday a boot so big will come into existence that you have to start licking it now before it even exists? Yeah, maybe. That could be, I guess, maybe. Or not.
Is that not just Christianity?
I mean, for one thing, don't let your wife hear you say that. But also, no, because, I mean, even if you want to frame Christianity as bootlicking, the boot is supposed to already exist.
I guess that's fair, but it's making a return, right? And those who
it's making
aren't licking properly are...
Yeah, but the boot's already in existence, though, so like it knows what you're doing now, so it can therefore properly stomp on your neck. But of course, that's if that's how you want to frame things. I don't think Christianity has to fall under that rubric. I don't think it does for some Christians. It certainly does for some other Christians. But like, yeah, there's a lot of internal variety in Christianity, as there are in religions generally. Rail got developed for $5 says, denial totally gives the game away. It's basically admitting a black person in Rwanda can out-unalive populations better than the Lebensraum people. I am not sure I follow, although it definitely gives the game away. I'm not sure how that example fits into it, though, Ray. Yeah. Anyway, let's update the current earnings here and note that we are almost halfway through the goal about telling you why I have some anticipatory champagne and why you might want some too.
Junk DNA. See, it turned out that 98% of our DNA, we had no idea what it was doing.
That's not true. We knew before, okay. We knew that there were non-gene or non-coding functional regions for things like developmental purposes and regulatory regions. That has been known basically for as long as we've known about genes. And those areas of the genome have never been considered junk, ever. From the inception of the term junk DNA, that's never been a part of it. So I'm just going to take a drink, because I have trouble thinking that Charles Jackson has ever looked into this, and then that's the conclusion he came away with. Either he's never looked into this and shouldn't be giving this talk, or he's lying. Either way, I'm taking a drink.
And since we're so smart, okay, look at this. Half a century later, we do the same arrogant, stupid mistake again. Hope springs eternal in the heart of the evolutionist. So they're like, since 98% of the DNA, we don't know what it's doing, and we're so smart, it must not be doing anything.
Lies. That's just a lie. No scientist has ever said that. I was going to say no one, but I mean, there's idiots like Charles Jackson out there, so obviously someone has said it. So, yep, Thatcher for $5 says, the difference between Rocco and the Christian God is we aren't required to build the Christian God in the future. I mean, yeah, that's true. I don't think that if we assume Christianity is true, that God's going to demand that he be built in the future. I don't even know what it would mean to build a transcendent cosmic entity.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
We'll get there eventually.
I'm sure I'll figure it out once the Let's Build God stuff starts. Oh, and hey, that put us to halfway.
I don't know how it's possible for someone to be this uninformed and also this confident about just fields that they don't know anything about. It's kind of fascinating almost.
I've given up assuming good faith on the part of professional creationists, and now I'm just assuming it's a lie until they can show me that they're dumb enough to actually think these things are true.
Yeah.
So here's how. You just lie.
Mm-hmm.
Look, if a kid can lie with a straight face about not eating the cookies while his face is smeared with chocolate and there's cookie crumbs all over his face and in a trail from the cookie jar to where he's sitting down, Charles Jackson can lie about DNA with confidence. Because Charles Jackson, I'm pretty sure, has the mental acuity of that kid who ate the cookie. Because he's not... Actually, no, that's not true. I do think he's actually too smart for this. I think he's just lying. I think he does think overall that Young Earth creationism is true, and he's willing to lie in order to keep people convinced that it's true, and he thinks that eventually the evidence will in fact vindicate him, and even if it doesn't, when he either dies or Jesus comes back, whichever one happens first, he will be vindicated by God telling all the evolutionists how dumb and wrong they were for looking at the evidence. How dare you?
Yeah.
So it's just a holdover from back when we had worm DNA and rat DNA. And
actually, no. Most of the junk DNA is the result of various what are called parasitic parts of the genome. Things that basically just get copied over and over and over again and have to be shut down by various other parts of your genome in order to stop them from multiplying so much. In fact, there is a hypothesis which a friend of the channel, Zach Hancock, is currently engaged in testing, which is that given the fact that natural selection is stronger in larger populations, and that while repetitive elements in your DNA, which is what the origin for much of junk DNA, while having those and having those multiply is technically deleterious, it's only deleterious at a very small degree, and so only large populations should actually have the strength of natural selection to select out those insertions. So what that means is that among closely related species, genome size should be inversely proportional to population size, and he is currently finding that borne out among amphipods that he's collecting in the field, which is really cool. Like, guys,
and you could say their genome is Baroque.
In case you guys don't know, I mentioned it with Jackson last time. I listened to the Infinite and the Divine not that long ago, and almost every noun in that book was at some point called Baroque, and I was just like, stop calling everything Baroque. I really like the book, don't get me wrong. It was a blast to read, or I guess technically listen to, but holy crap did I get tired of the word Baroque. Let's see, Regios has just gifted 10 Dapper Dinosaur memberships. Thank you so much. Let's take 10 drinks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm actually going to have to get a new drink pretty soon here at this rate. And then Rail Got to Bella for $2 says, Bad Jackson might be mostly worm and rat DNA.
That's probably true.
He also likes to say things like that humans evolved from rats. That's just not a thing. I think what he's actually doing is he's calling any small mammal a rat, which is really, really dumb. Because, you know, that's not how rats work. That's not how anything works. But, yeah. So, But yeah, getting back to the whole population and junk DNA thing, I love that we understand things like transposable elements and junk DNA and population genetics so well that a guy I know can go out, make a hypothesis based on his prior knowledge of population genetics, natural selection, and the cost of, like, the energetic cost of just copying the genome of an organism, and then make a prediction about relative genome sizes in related organisms, and have it be borne out. That's really cool. That's that thing that we love in science, where you make a prediction and then you check.
Gold standard.
And then it turns out you're right. That's the important part, Gun Earth Creationists. It's not just making the testable prediction. It's testing it and having it turn out that you're right. So, yeah. Which, by the way, if you're not subscribed to Zach B. Hancock's channel, go do that. He's got a lot of really cool videos explaining super cool stuff about population genetics, which is a field that almost no one knows a damn thing about unless they're actually in that field. So, like, yeah. Go check that out. He has been immensely helpful to me in my understanding of population. So, yeah. Let's see. We've got, for $5, Rail Gattabella says, I actually saw an article that said humans evolved from rats on the Weekly World News, and as a credulous kid, I thought it had scientific merit. I mean, to be fair, rats are not that far removed from humans. Rats are more closely related to humans than either are to dogs, or cats, or horses, or bats, or elephants. So, you know, that's why rodents are often used in animal studies for clinical trials and whatnot. It's because overall, they're generally pretty similar to primates. Which means that, you know, you start off with, like, rodents or lagomorphs, because they're equally closely related to primates. Then you step up to primates. And finally, you do actual human trials. Roshina for $4.99 says, we aren't rodents, we aren't reptiles, but we are lobe-finned fish. Hail the fish. That is absolutely 100% accurate. I have absolutely no corrections on that one. We are indeed lobe-finned fish. But I mean, I'm a reptile, so you're not. Yeah. The best branch of fish. Maybe.
True.
I mean, I do like eels.
Cichlids are pretty cool. I can't deny
cichlids are cool too. Catfish are also cool. You know, the electric eel is actually a catfish and not an eel.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
The electric eel?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
The electric eel is a member of the gymnotiforms, I believe, which are related, but are not, but not in siluriforms. Which
they're not technically cat. Okay, fine.
They're knife fish. Is the but they're in the same group, which is like Stariophysi, I think, or something like that. Where they all have like these particular they have a particular thing in their skull that makes them all very similar.
Also, electric eels are really weird because basically all of their organs are scrunched into like the first 10% of their body, and then the rest is all just tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like a muscle battery.
Yeah, their anus is basically right under their chin. It's not actually, it's like right under their jaw. It's only back a little bit of the way. And then the rest is just tail. And it's so weird. All right, here we go.
Fish DNA and monkey DNA, and so it's just trash leftovers from all the experiments evolution's done inside.
Imagine being this bad at explaining the origin of junk DNA, because almost all of it is not any kind of evolutionary leftover. It's just genetic parasites. And for $5, Tasha says, fight me in local watering hole, catfish. I mean, they'll try. Hey, in chat, let me know if you've ever gone noodling for catfish. Oh man, I'm going to be down south here in a couple months for a family wedding. I plan to eat a lot of catfish. Like, a lot of catfish. And maybe some hush puppies.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
You know what you don't get in... actually, you can find it in certain parts of Arizona, but not the parts where I live. You don't get a lot of catfish and hush puppies. There is one diner that I know of that I used to end up at sometimes when I was going, when I was like driving myself to Texas or something from Phoenix. And they had catfish and hush puppies. It was pretty decent, and they were up near a lake and everything. Like, it was not like the Arizona that you think of when you think of Arizona. But for the most part, yeah.
Fish. Yes, I am also a big fan of fish, so...
Nice.
I am... Yes. Yes. I
Oh,
agree.
and hey,
Plans are being made.
we're only 12 super chats away from me talking about that champagne.
Our bodies in the millions of billions of years and all that. And so it's evident, proof, and you would have heard it in evolution biology class, proof, you idiot creationists, that evolution is actually the truth.
I mean, it certainly would be hard to explain under a creation paradigm where you assume that God creates with some kind of like perfect efficiency. I don't know that I would use the word proof about anything in science. So like, no, I probably wouldn't say it's proof, but it adds to the evidence from, genetic similarity as well as the fossil record, morphology, embryology, actual observed instances of evolution. All that adds together, right? It's the same thing as like a criminal case, right? Like, oh no, Bob's been accused of murder. Well, what did you find that indicates that he's a murderer? Well, he had a hammer that matches the wounds that the victim had. It's like, okay, yeah, but lots of people have that hammer. But his DNA was found at the scene. Yeah, but other people's DNA was found at the scene. But also he happened to have the victim's blood. Yeah, but you can get blood on something in lots of different ways, not just murder. But he was also seen leaving the scene of the crime at around the time of death. Yeah, but I mean, that could have just been a coincidence. But here's the thing. Once you combine all that stuff together, you get a cumulative case that makes it very hard to decide that anything is plausibly accurate about the murder that doesn't involve Bob Cos doing the murder, right? That's how evidence works. It's an accumulation. It's a cumulative case. There's no one thing that proves evolution. It's the continual lines of evidence from all fields of biology that all indicate a single basic story about life, and that's universal common ancestry for extant life on Earth. So what do you do? Well, if you're Charles, you just lie about it. Roshina for $4.99 says, electric eel, horseshoe crabs, dinosaur, mantis shrimp. These names are all lies. I mean, yeah, the electric eel is not an eel. The horseshoe crab is not a crab. Dinosaurs aren't lizards. Mantis shrimp aren't mantises or shrimp. It's true.
Turtle dove.
Yeah, wait, isn't it a dove? I don't actually know.
But it's not a turtle.
Oh, that's true. It's not a turtle. Good point. Yeah. Stupid birds. Don't pretend to be turtles. You're not turtles. Stop it. To be fair, I don't think the turtle doves decided to give themselves that name. Mayan Finish Studio for 222 says, hail Daps, good Jacks, and hail Catfish. Oh, man. I'm going to be so hungry by the end of this. I'm I need some fried catfish right now. Man. Last time I had catfish, I was in Georgia. I was down at the United Launch Alliance assembly facility doing work down there, where I got to see a whole bunch of cool rocket stuff, including some very big rocket engines right up close. But yeah, we were not too far out from a diner that my friend, who has family in Georgia, her family likes that diner, so I went to it, and yep, I ate a lot of catfish and a lot of hush puppies, and I probably ate way more calories than I should have every single day I was there.
You see. So, talk about new unknown things that we didn't know about as proof of evolution. They did the same exact error in logic all over again for the same arrogant reason, like the reason Satan thinks he's going to win at the end of this thing.
Okay. It's always jarring to me when someone just suddenly brings Satan into it for no reason. It's always weird. And part of that just might be that it's not part of most of my church experience, is just people randomly asserting that it's Satan. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's the case, right? Although maybe it was more prominent in the evangelical church I used to go to way back in the day, back when I was an evangelical Christian. I don't know. But I've been to a lot of different kinds of churches, and very few of them were of the kind that were like, oh yeah, we should probably blame everything on Satan. That's the thing that makes the most sense. Blue Colorado Sukin for $1.99 says, don't forget the crocoduck. Yeah, the crocoduck would definitely be proof of evolution. Except it would actually probably be a huge, huge problem for evolution that would actually make us question a lot of what we thought we knew. Which is the theme with creationists. You ask them to give you evidence of evolution. You ask them what would count as evidence for evolution, and the thing they give you would actually be evidence against evolution. Right? They're like, well, if I saw a cow giving birth to a dog, it's like, okay, yeah, but that would be a problem for evolution. Evolution doesn't say cows should give birth to dogs. Like, well, what if I saw a crocodile? It's like, nope. Also would be a problem for evolution. Evolution wouldn't have a way to explain that very easily.
The old I read the back of the book. I mean, he should have known at the beginning when he tried to take over heaven that it wasn't going to work that way.
Hey, did you know that's not in the Bible? For a bunch of people who say that their only source for doctrine is the Bible, they sure do like to stuff a lot of stuff into the Bible that just isn't in there. Like the rebellion of Satan. Or just the rapture. By the way, Jackson, you're muted.
Unfortunately, my favorite part, when the demons rode dinosaurs into battle, that part was in the Bible.
Was it now?
Yeah. I mean, it had to be. It's implied. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the
okay,
details.
it's implied, right. Yes. I forgot. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. My goodness.
Listen, it can't all be like they had a certain amount of time they could write things down. They were trying to go, So they just implied it.
Roshan says Book of Enoch isn't in the Bible. It isn't in most Bibles. It's in Ethiopian Bibles, but I'm not from Ethiopia, so
not Algerian Bibles.
Not that I'm aware of. I think it's in Eritrean Bibles too.
Oh.
But that's because the Eritrean Orthodox Church used to be the same thing as the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, but then when Eritrea broke away to become the world's most military of military dictatorships, basically I don't remember exactly the title of what the primate of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church is, but basically it was like, yeah, you guys can just go be your own separate church now. And then that whole thing was blessed by, I want to say, Pope Shenouda III? It wasn't Tawadros, I don't think. I don't think Tawadros had taken office yet, because I think Shenouda was still alive. I think it was Pope Shenouda who did. But hey, anyone who's familiar with Oriental Orthodoxy, double check that on me, because I don't want to say the wrong pope. And most of y'all probably didn't even know there ever was a Pope Shenouda. Never mind 3 of them.
Turn to the DNA in our cells, the unknowns in the DNA in our cells.
Okay, so he keeps saying the unknowns. Jackson, do we call things junk DNA simply because we don't know what they actually do? Or do we actually have positive evidence for lack of function?
We do, in fact, have positive evidence for lack of function. And when we don't know what the function of a stretch of DNA is, we don't call it junk DNA. We just call it uncharacterized region.
Mm-hmm. So we can test for function. There's 2 big ways, right? One is just knockout tests, right? Where you take an organism, you knock out that chunk of DNA, and see if the organism develops into a happy, healthy adult. If it does, well, that's a pretty good indication that part of the DNA wasn't doing anything. Now, we don't do that with humans, because for obvious reasons, you don't want to just take fertilized human embryos, knock out chunks of their DNA, and then have them be brought to full term. Because what if you're wrong about it being junk DNA? Now you've just created an entire person whom you've also given some kind of severe genetic disease to. Because you just kind of were curious, that's not okay. That's obviously a violation of medical ethics. But we do it with things like rodents. Again, because they're very similar to primates. Speaking of which, Pillowpunk, who's been a member for 26 months and is at the tetrapod level, says, the primate of what now? The Ethiopian Tewahedo Orthodox Church, or Tawah, I don't remember exactly how to say that word. It basically means oneness in, I think, Gabez? It might be Tigrinya or Amharic. I can't reliably differentiate between those 3 languages. Hillhugger, who's been a member for 36 months and is at the Tetrapod level, says, 3-year dapper birthday, good company except Bad Jackson. Yes, well, first of all, thank you very much for being a member for 36 months. That's awesome. So yeah, we're going to hit play. If anyone does actually find out what the title of the primate of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church is, let me know. I'm just skipping over the word that I'm not sure how to pronounce in case anyone hasn't noticed.
And it has been touted for 50 years as evidence of evolution.
I mean, it is evidence of evolution against, like, a proposed... Like, if we're going to put it in a dichotomy with how creationism goes according to most Christian creationists. I could imagine other versions of creationism where it might not preclude those, and so it might not be dispositive between them, but it is a prediction of evolution that we should find junk DNA. Because the cost of copying out portions of the genome in terms of the energy cost to a cell is pretty low. And so, except in cases of very, very strong natural selection, there's really not a huge pressure to reduce the size of the genome.
And we creationists have been called idiots.
I mean, I don't think most creationists are idiots. I think most of them are misinformed, and then some of them are liars. And sure, there's probably some idiots in there, right? There's idiots everywhere. But hey, Primordial Puggles just joined the channel at the tetrapod level. Everybody send some tetrapod emojis to welcome Primordial Puggles. Thank you very much for joining. I hope you enjoy it. If you have trouble getting into the Discord, make sure that you put the YouTube channel that you joined with into your connections in Discord. Settings, connections, add a connection, your YouTube channel. That should bring up a list of servers that you can join as a result of your connections. Mine should be on there. Join it. If you don't want to join the Discord, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to.
For saying that, well, you know, I was actually just.
So Jillian Wren says Abuna, possibly. I believe that's just a term for a priest in general. Erafamian just gave $20 with no message. Thank you very much, Erafamian. I really appreciate that. It's very generous of you. If you did actually mean to leave a message, please do tag me, and I will read it as if you had sent it via Super Chat.
Discussing it with the Dean of Sciences and the Chair of Biology at Carson Newman College in Jefferson City, Tennessee, and Dr. Friels, the Dean of Science, said to me, well, Dr. Jackson, what about junk DNA? And I said, well, and he goes, you're going to say someday we're going to find a reason for it, aren't you? And him and Dr. Carr.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is not how that story went, so I'm going to take a drink for things that didn't happen. Also, Regios has just sent 5 Dapper Dinosaur gift memberships. Thank you so much. And hey, Jillian Wren did get one. That was one of our goals, is trying to get Jillian Wren one. So here we go. Here's 5 drinks. 1, 2, and then I am out of beer. Jackson. Good Jackson.
Me.
All right. Here's what I want you to do.
Okay.
I want you... Now, this doesn't matter how much you know about this topic. You're just going to BS your way through it if you don't, right?
Oh, okay.
All right. Star Wars has 2 very similar looking aliens. The Duros and the Nemoidians. I want you to tell everyone, while I go get a new beer, what the differences are and why they're so similar, and whether or not that reflects common ancestry or convergent evolution in the Star Wars galaxy or what. So, go ahead. I'll be right back.
I think the Duros are like blue and green mostly, so they have like that sort of color scheme, whereas the Nemoidians are more kind of like pale, kind of grayish. I don't know. I mean, as far as I'm aware, there's not really a discussion in the Star Wars universe about whether they share a recent common ancestor or not. I wish Dapper were back now. I don't know anything about this. I could do juggling, I guess. Can you all see me juggling? How long does it take Dapper to get a drink? Well, since you're all here, I don't know. I got nothing. Come over to my channel and watch The Ancestor's Tale, I guess. You know, we do videos about evolution over there. How we do in Miami? This is an absurd length of time for him to pour a beer. He should have just waited. He had 10 more minutes until the halfway point. He could have just waited. How is he not back yet? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna fire Dapper, and we're gonna make Vishanti the head of this channel. This is gonna be Vishanti's show now. And Kip Davis. Welcome back.
Hey.
I was just regaling them with my deep knowledge of the Duros and the Nemoidians.
Nice.
And I think we reached some kind of deep understanding as a unit,
Well, that's good.
Yes, and you definitely should not listen to any of the things I've been saying because you don't need to. I'm sure you already know all about the Duro and the Nemoidian, so you don't need to hear anything
I don't.
that I was talking about.
Definitely,
Yeah, exactly.
not.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Right, I think we should move forward with the show.
Actually, when I played the Star Wars tabletop RPG, my characters were very frequently Duros, one of my favorite species. So
yeah, I've always said that. Yes,
you've always said that Duros are one of my favorite species.
Yeah, among other things.
Okay.
Yes, things that we don't need to rehash since.
How do I feel about Zabrex?
How do you personally are you asking me how you feel about
since
Zabrak?
apparently you know how I feel about Duros.
They're probably okay. Savage is pretty cool. Darth Maul is pretty cool.
I'm actually a little bit impressed that you knew which species that was.
Yeah, you
All
see? Right. Yeah, exactly. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Here we go. 1. Well, I did 2, so here's 3. 4. And 5. And let's see. Regios, so that was the 5 drinks there. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $2 says, how does this man not have chronic facial trauma? Yeah, I don't know. You would think, right? He certainly is the type who... I'm not advocating punching Charles Jackson. But if you did it, I would understand your impulse to do so. Let's just say that. Joshua Geese at $5 says, tell us about the rocks. Well, the rocks were there, for one thing.
Yes. I'm so glad that everyone else is better than me about remembering that I co-authored a book. And RJ, so not only did RJ and I co-author a book titled The Rocks Were There, Volume 1, in which we shred creationist arguments. We're actually in the process of writing a second one, and it is most of the way done.
Very cool.
And it is titled The Rocks Were There, Volume 2, and so it is also going to be quite thick.
All right.
It has the thickness.
But I do have bad news for everyone. And that bad news is that we have 111 people watching, but I'm only seeing 49 likes, which means, unfortunately, I like less than half of you, half as well as you deserve. So come on, hit that like button so you don't get Bilbo'd again. Also, since that basically was just a break, I just want to say, hey, I really appreciate all the support you guys have given me over the last several years. It means the world. It also means that, I'm not homeless or starving. So, if you are currently not supporting the channel financially, but you'd like to and you can afford to, the 2 biggest ways that I would suggest are the Patreon or the channel memberships. The Patreon's in the description. Channel membership's right below this video. Patreon starts at $1 a month. You can get a 50% discount if you go annual. Membership starts at $1.99. There's no annual thing, but both of those give you access to my Discord server. They give you access to, right now, almost 7 months worth of early access videos. So yeah, it's a pretty decent deal, I think. And if that's not your thing, that's fine. There's also a wish list if you want to support me that way. Also, liking and sharing is free. Well, free beyond the electricity you use, I guess. I don't know. So feel free to do that. That would be very, very much appreciated. And yeah, there's a merch store. And if you can't afford to give anything, please don't feel like you have to. I don't want any money you can't afford. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, also you can render for me on Sheepit. Instructions are in the description. That's basically free except for the electricity. Here's more Charles Jackson.
The head of biology laughed at me to scorn.
Yeah, because we didn't just not find function for the stuff that we declared junk DNA. We already knew it didn't have a function, and nothing about that has changed there, Chuck. So here's a way that we can tell that a certain region of DNA doesn't have function that isn't the knockout that I described earlier. Another way is we can just check for evidence that that sequence is under constraint, or other words, is being purified by natural selection such that it can only change within a narrow range of, within a narrow range of sequences.
Yeah.
So if something is sequence constrained such that it cannot vary freely, that is positive indication of function. Because DNA that doesn't do anything can say whatever the heck it wants. Doesn't matter, right? If it wasn't doing anything anyway, then who cares what's in there? On the other hand, virtually all functions that have ever been identified for DNA are sequence specific. Now, they're not specific to the point where they can't vary at all, which is like the converse problem that a lot of creationists have, is they assume that there's only one sequence in the entire realm of sequence space that could possibly perform this one function. That's wrong. But also, the area of sequence space that actually contains functions that are related to this particular function that the organism needs is indeed finite. It can't say literally anything. And so if we find evidence of a region that is highly variable with no apparent constraint on sequence, which we can test for, then we can say with high confidence that that area is not functional. And if it is functional, the function you're going to have to assign to it is going to have to be not sequence constrained, which is a pretty small list of functions. Naram puts for $5 says, half serious question, will it be from the Champagne region of France? Yes, actually, mine is. My Champagne, I verified it was in fact from France. So take that. Other parts of the world that want to say they make champagne, I lost that entire sentence. I have no idea where it was going. You ever start a sentence and it just gets away from you, Jackson?
Dapper, what?
Yeah, there you go. See? It happens. All right, I'm going to hit play.
But, well, in 1999, something happened.
Oh my goodness. Is it encode? Is it going to be encode? That's my prediction, guys. It's going to be
What's
encode.
your prediction?
We'll get to that. Will Rogers, a humorist like Mark Twain, back in the Dust Bowl days.
Just say comedian. No one uses the word humorist anymore. It's weird.
Humorist, yeah, that is a throwback.
Yeah, it's comedian. That's the word people use now.
He said this from Oklahoma. He was an Okie. Scientists get bigger and bigger reputations the more they talk about things you can't check on.
That
Actually,
is absolutely false.
Yeah, literally the opposite.
The whole point of doing science, the entire point is that you do work that you then have your peers check on. Like, as someone who has written a thesis, you have to have your committee look at your paper, usually several times, before you finish, right? And then if you are a scientist with a really big reputation, this is because your work has passed peer review on multiple occasions.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it turns out that you do in fact make a claim that you cannot support, your career tanks. It's over. Like, you can't get a job in that field anymore.
Yep.
That's what happens.
Yep.
Yeah, like aliens and junk.
Hey, remind me, which scientist is famous for just chattering on about aliens a lot? Because I can't think of one.
Is Graham Hancock a scientist?
No, he's a pseudo-archaeologist.
Oh, okay, all right.
And
I
a
don't know
former
any.
journalist.
I can't think of any.
Yeah.
Well, at least none that would assert that we have positive evidence for aliens.
Well, I can't even think of any who are famous for talking about aliens. I can think of some famous scientists who are famous for things other than talking about aliens, who also talk about aliens.
Sure.
Right? Like,
I heard that.
Neil deGrasse Tyson is famous for various things, mostly being a good science communicator. But he also sometimes talks about the possibility of alien life, but he's not famous because of the alien thing.
Right. Yeah.
DNA. This is Marilyn Vosavant from the Guinness Book of World Records, the member of Mensa. Like,
hey, Chuck, could you maybe cite someone who, I don't know, is a geneticist? You know, the thing you're talking about? I hate that. Like, Marilyn Vosavant, the smartest woman in the world. Who cares?
who is this person? Like,
Some
genuinely, I've never heard of this
yeah.
person.
Some comedian from the 1930s said a thing.
All right,
Again,
a humorist
who cares?
from the 1930s.
Yeah, a humorist. My apologies. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $2 says, "But what if you're peerless in idiocy? Well, then you just go and have your stuff checked by the Answers and Research Journal."
Me, only she's the world record. I think somebody has beaten her since then, but she had an article,
By the way, IQ tests rarely are able to test above like 160 or so. So anyone who's like, my IQ is 228, no, it's not. Because there basically aren't any valid tests that go that high. So no, it's not. So already I'm like, yeah, this is made up. Right? It's like that current guy who's like, my IQ is the highest IQ in the world.
Is it Langford?
Yeah, something like that. The guy who's like, I have my own theory of everything, and it proves Christianity was true the whole time.
They always do, don't they?
Yeah, it's the people who claim to be the smartest person in the world do frequently say that whatever it is that they have figured out proves that, oh my goodness, the belief system they held beforehand, it was right the whole time.
Isn't it crazy how that works?
So, yeah. So surprising. It's also like everyone who has a near-death experience sees the people they expect to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
column in Parade magazine called Ask Marilyn because she was famous for being the highest IQ alive. But look what she said.
Okay, I've never heard of this magazine either. So some lady who allegedly had an IQ, which she absolutely could not demonstrably have had, said something in a magazine you never heard of. Okay.
That sells it for me, Dapper. I am sold. I'm on the train now.
I mean, you know the reason he's talking about this is because he's in Mensa and she was in Mensa, or is in Mensa. I don't actually know. Which, by the way, I'm sorry if you're in Mensa, but as far as I can tell, Mensa really is a club for people who like to tell people that they're in a club called Mensa. Yeah. Tangent for $5 says, Avi Loeb is definitely famous for talking about aliens. Yeah, but he's not a scientist. He's now a pseudoscientist. I don't even know if he was ever a scientist.
That's right. Yeah.
Joshua Geese for $5 says, well, that's like your opinion, man. It's true. That is like my... but hey, I appreciate it, dude.
Be able to defend your arguments in a rational way. Otherwise...
Hey, Chuck. You ever think about taking that advice instead of just lying about science all the time? I don't know. Seems like a good idea to me. Also, by the way, I've been being kind of aggressive about this Marilyn person. I don't know her. She might be a very lovely person and who just happens to be one of those, like, I'm in Mensa. Ooh, it smells nice. My own farts kind of people. Which, like, she might otherwise be a perfectly lovely person. I don't know. And I mean, this position from her is reasonable.
All you have is a what? Opinion. And that's...
Actually, that part is not true. You might have something that you believe that is true, and that you do not have rational reasons for believing it, but it's true anyway. And that doesn't make it an opinion. It's still a fact, that thing that you believe, right? So, like, if you believe that, I don't know, your lettuce is safe because you think that, like, I don't know, the ghost of James Dean came and inspected all your lettuce to make sure it didn't have any weird, like, contaminants, and if it did, he would supernaturally transport the lettuce out of your refrigerator into the spirit realm. That doesn't mean that you're wrong that your lettuce is safe to eat. It probably is. And it's not just an opinion that it's safe to eat. It is safe to eat. So, like, yeah, you just don't have a good reason for thinking it. George McMarion Snoozer Wolf for $4.99 says, and I'm pretty sure I got that pronunciation wrong, sorry about that. Weird how they're obsessed with a flimsy method to objectively rank humans as superior or inferior. AIG is a bag of IQ tests. Take a drink for that. Technically doesn't meet the rules, but I don't care. I like this beer. Yeah, there's the other thing, is IQ tests are basically just bullshit. And they don't have to be, but they usually are specifically racist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think there's much of a good reason
Why
for
do
anyone...
people who love IQ never talk about the Flynn effect? It's so crazy how that happens, you know?
Hillhugger for $2 dues says, an arm bone from the 1930s said, what now? Nice. Humorist. Yeah, I get it.
Huh.
Good pun.
Okay. But don't put it in books and say people who don't hold the same opinion as you are stupid.
Okay, I won't put any of my opinions in a book and say that anyone who doesn't accept my opinions are stupid. However, I will say that if you investigate evolution without deciding to reject it from the outset, and then, after understanding all of the evidence for it, you reject it either. Anyway, you are either stupid or you're just lying. I'll say that there, Chuck. How about that?
Which is what we get from the evolutionists all the time. Okay, 2007, Newsweek magazine, The Evolution Revolution. I told you, every once in a while these magazines put out a special evolution.
Charles Jackson, cite peer-reviewed research, challenge level impossible. He'll just never do it.
I don't think he knows how.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, he has a PhD though. He must have some idea how. He got a real PhD from a real school, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Oh, man, also we're only 5 away from meeting that super chat goal. We're really close.
Woo.
For $2, Fits of Rage says, "A rebel with a cause, check lettuce," with AIG's a bag of dicks emoji. We'll take a drink for that. Thank you very much.
Evolution's got to be true issue. Every few years, all of them do it. Well, let's take a look at
Yeah, it's almost like they cycle through science topics to keep, selling magazines.
this. In 2007, look what it says. And they're talking about the new exhibit at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City.
Which is also not a peer-reviewed publication. Just putting that out there.
As its exhibits show, humankind's roots are sunk deep in the East African savanna. There, the last creature ancestral to humans as well as chimps, and that would be the missing.
Actually, no. The last creature that was ancestral to humans and chimps probably was not living on the savannah. It was probably living in broken woodlands, with the chimpanzee lineage further specializing for forest, and the human lineage further specializing for the savannah. So I disagree with this article, but whatever.
I think the last creature before the last monkey changed into the first human, not the last monkey of all, but the last one in that family, because the rest of them in that family turned out to be us.
Okay, so Charles Jackson doesn't know what it means to be human, or what a family is, and seemingly what a monkey is. Okay, yeah. Definitely the kind of person.
I'm not particularly surprised by any of those things.
Yeah, I'm not either, but it's sort of like, I feel like if you wanted to talk about human origins in terms of evolution, whether from a contrarian standpoint or from a scientific standpoint, you might want to know the basic terms and what they mean. Like, what does it mean to be a human? What is a monkey? What is, any of these things, a common ancestor? Seems like they would be important things to know. Eve of Everything for $5 redo says, just earned my first Sheepit points, and now I'll just forget about it until Windows restarts. Well, thank you very much. I cannot say enough how helpful Sheepit really is. So in case you guys don't know, Sheepit is how I get the animations done for my channel. So the average video of mine has about 35 to 45 minutes worth of, me on screen. And all that needs to be rendered out. Depending on avatar, that can take anywhere from a couple minutes per frame all the way to 5 or 6 minutes per frame. And at about, we'll say 40 minutes, at 30 frames a second, times 2 minutes, that's a long time to render. And so the way I do it is I send it to a render farm called Sheepit. And my frames are allocated priority based on how many points I have. So every time someone renders for me and gets me those points, my frames next time I render go to a higher priority, so they get done faster. So that way I can actually put out multiple videos a month rather than one video every couple months.
In their theory, our closest living cousins, the last creature ancestral to humans and chimps, lived standing at a fork in the family tree, as momentous as it is contentious. In other words, argued about. Now, watch.
Yeah, because we don't have a particular fossil for that exact thing, because we wouldn't expect it to.
Watch what they admit in 2007.
I thought we were talking about 1999. Whatever, doesn't matter.
Fossils never resolved when the lineage is split.
Yeah. In fact, fossils probably can't resolve that. Because even if you found a fossil that was what you would expect for the common ancestor of humans and chimpanzees, like what you would expect it to look like, you don't actually know if that's what it is. It could be a side branch that went extinct, but that was still very morphologically similar. It could be just on the chimpanzee side or just on the human side. Or it could possibly, but it's the least likely option, just actually be the very middle of the road. But there's no way to verify that for sure because we can't DNA test fossils that old. So the way that we actually figure out when this happened was with genetics and molecular clocks and whatnot. And then we can make predictions about what sorts of organisms should have existed at around that time. And then we can find fossils that meet those predictions, which is basically how all fossils are unearthed nowadays. Like, not all, but like any time that there's a big expedition of paleontologists who are going out to some formation to look for something, they're doing so based on predictions based on evolution. And we find the predicted fossil forms. Which means that, once again, evolutionary biology and genetics, with population genetics and evolutionary genetics and all that stuff, is coming together to make a prediction about what bones we're going to find in the rocks, and then the prediction is true. Creationism. Do the same thing. Go for it. Don't just fund a fossil expedition to find more dinosaurs of the kinds that we've already found. Pick a new kind of thing that you think should exist based on creationism. Explain why, based on creationism, you think that thing should exist, where you think it should be in the rocks, and then go find the damn thing. Because evolution does it all the time. I don't know of any time that creationism has ever done it. Creationists have stumbled upon fossils, but that's not the same thing as making a prediction about where you're going to find a specific fossil of a type of creature that has never been found before. Do that. That would be compelling. Instead, they just whine and lie about real scientists.
They never found the missing, Newsweek admits it in 2007. But
there's no such thing as the missing link. We have numerous transitional fossils to the point that you can find basically a completely smooth transition all the way from like barely out of the trees, Miocene apes just on the side of humanity versus Pam, all the way through in a smooth transition to anatomically modern Homo sapiens in the area around Ethiopia about 200,000 years ago.
But DNA might do it. The next hope of stuff we don't know enough about to know what we're talking about.
Except that we do, Charles. We do know enough. You just hope that we don't, because then it leaves room for a gap that doesn't actually exist that you can stick your particular God of the gaps into. Because let's remember, this is just a God of the gaps. Like, oh, we don't know? Well, I bet God has a plan for that part that we don't know, and that only God can explain that part. Except in this case, it's not even a gap.
They're going to use that now. Human DNA and chimp DNA differ by no more than 1.2%.
That's an oversimplification. They differ by no more than that in alignable coding regions. Gone over that many times. If you want to see a really good explanation of that, go check out some of the more recent Guts of Gibbon videos. Because she has been going into this whole thing in a big old deep dive. And this whole, like, oh, it's not really 1.2 or whatever percent. It's actually like 15% stuff. Yeah, the DI, especially the Discovery Institute, they've been really harping on that. And they've been doing it in what's hard to see as any honest kind of manner.
DNA changes at a fairly regular rate. That lets scientists use this rate to calibrate a molecular clock whose tick-tocks measure how long ago a genetic change occurred based on many, many assumptions.
Not that many, basically. It's measuring the long-term phylogenetic replacement rate and then calculating backwards and acknowledging that you're going to have some margin of error based on the fact that those rates can vary a little bit and that you're going to have signal and noise in your measurements. And so you have to try to find some way to filter out the noise, but you're never going to be 100% successful. That's it. That's all that is. That's how all of science works, right? There's nothing special about this. This is the same kind of science that brings you cell phones and satellites and computers, that cures your various diseases, that develops vaccines against various other diseases so that you don't get them in the first place. All of that science works in the same way. We make measurements, we acknowledge where our measurements have our error built into them, We account for that. We don't go overboard in our specificity or pretend that we have less uncertainty than we do. We only draw the conclusions that can actually be drawn from the data, and when people don't, when they draw extra conclusions, they get called out on that. That's science. What Charles Jackson is complaining about is just that science exists. Anytime a creationist tells you how creationists are actually pro-science, I want you to think back to this here right now, where Charles Jackson is just complaining about the very most basic way in which science occurs. That we're not 100% confident about all measurements. Because of course we're not. That's not how it works.
Even leading evolutionists realize is guesswork. But
it's not guesswork, it's measurements.
The point I want to look at is they were resorting now to DNA.
We're resorting to the thing that is actually passed down vertically from ancestors to descendants. That's the thing I'm taking a drink. Like, what? Jackson, help me make sense of the idea that evolutionary biology is resorting to DNA, as if that's not the very basic component of evolution.
I'm gonna have to say, he's just making stuff up.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me check the board. Yes, 100.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I do want to say that while it does say that we have an hour and 27 left on the Super Chat goal, I set it to 3 hours just because I wanted to be in place before the stream started. We actually only have until the end of the stream, which is closer to 45 minutes than it is to an hour and a half. So, if you want to hear about the champagne, that is roughly the time frame for it. And for $2, Tasha says, I'm never thinking back to right now. Never. I can't blame you. We're actually also getting kind of close to Ben getting some free pizza.
Nice.
Yeah.
We love free pizza.
Yeah. I just kind of hope he doesn't want it today because I'm not really hungry right now.
Junk DNA or junk genes.
Nope. There is no such thing as a junk gene. If it's a gene, it's got a function, and it's to produce a protein, which means it's not junk. Every time he says junk genes, I cringe a little bit inside. Some pseudo genes are junk. That's a gene that's no longer a gene because now it's broken, hence pseudo, false gene. Yeah.
As opposed to judo genes.
Yeah.
Some people have those.
Yeah.
Others do not.
For $2, Lieutenant Matt the Navigator says, the young Earth creationists are resorting to Genesis. Exactly, right? You believe they resorted to the Bible? Like, well, yeah, that's their whole shtick.
They're trying to find answers there.
Mm-hmm.
Vestigial genes, it's the very same exact logic they used 70 years ago.
Except it's not, because most junk DNA isn't broken, formerly functional DNA. It is wild to me, the way that he will just make this up, because no one is saying this, right? Like, no actual geneticists are saying, the majority of junk DNA is actually pseudogenes that are remnants of the evolutionary past, because they're not. There are things like ERVs that have inserted themselves in the genome and then since broken so they can no longer produce actual viruses. There are things like transposable elements like retrotransposons or ALUs and things like that that just keep getting copied over and over again into the genome without actually doing anything. That's what most of it is. There are pseudogenes in there, but that's a tiny fraction of the junk. Most of the junk is not pseudogenes.
But Dapper, you failed to consider that there is a clandestine function for transposons and ALUs and ERVs. Which obviously, Casey Luskin told me so it must be true.
Okay, counterpoint. If it were true that those things were useful, then we would not see a proportionality between genome size and population size in closely related organisms, like Zach B. Hancock has hypothesized. There we go, hypothesized. Instead, we do, though. Yes.
Are you trying to tell me that Casey Luskin is a dirty liar right now?
I'm telling you, there is a reason that the last time I made a video about that man, I photoshopped him into a Nazi SS uniform and put literal dog shit in his mouth. That's what I'm telling you.
All right.
From Josh Wiggies for $5 says, towards hearing about the terroir? I'm not entirely sure what you're going for there. My unfinished sock for $2 says, "Don't ignore smoking gun evidence. Like and share." Yes, please do. It really does help.
Mm-hmm.
And so for 50 years, though, they've been throwing this junk DNA stuff at us in a very high-handed, high on their high horse attitude about it.
Yeah, because they're right. And also, I love how he thinks that the vast majority, or even any, of the professional writing about evolution is directed at him and young Earth creationists, right? It's just as silly as thinking that most NASA publications are aimed at flat earthers. It's not true. The average evolutionary biologist doesn't even know that young Earth creationists actually still exist. Just like the average, astronomer or spaceflight planner at NASA or something doesn't probably know that flat earthers even exist. They don't care about you, Charles. They don't think about you. When they find out that you exist, the usual reaction is, huh, that's weird. I thought they didn't exist anymore. And then to continue on with their day, because it still doesn't matter, Charles. No one is competing with you in science. They're just doing the science, and then you're getting angry about it. It's like a little toddler who's angry because the characters on TV didn't do what the toddler wanted them to do. Well, they're never going to, because they don't know about you, toddler. If they did know about you, they wouldn't particularly care. Someone else is in control of all of that, and they have no interest in pleasing you specifically, or even addressing you specifically. It is a really weird, paranoia that a lot of people have, especially pseudoscientists and, conspiracy theorists, that, thinks that, the main establishment of science or the government or whatever knows about and cares about them and their crankpot ideas specifically. Generally not true.
And we have continued to maintain there's no such thing. God don't make no junk. It is doing something.
Well, then explain the knockout tests. Explain the lack of purifying selection in various regions of the genome. Just do it. If you have a hypothesis that goes against the consensus, that's fine. Do the work to demonstrate it. That's all it takes in science. If you're right, you'll be able to do it. If you're not, then you won't, and no one's minds will be changed. And if the thing is, we don't have the funding. You had the funding to build a gigantic wooden building shaped like an ark with concrete coming out the other end for millions and millions of dollars. You could afford to do some knockout tests in mice there, Chuck. I promise. Dutch Tunicate Official for $5, making us only 2 super chats away, says, Charles is dumb. At least he's slightly better than Flurfs with a Godzilla. I'm not positive that he's better than Flurfs. I'll take a drink first for the Godzilla. And here's why. Well, clearly he's less wrong about the world than the Flurfs are. I don't think that's because of anything that is a credit to him. I think that's just because when he was learning pseudoscience as a wee little Jackson, that just wasn't popular, so he didn't learn about it. But I can almost guarantee you that if he had been raised by flat earthers, he would be a flat earther. And he would be talking about how dumb NASA is and how they keep lying and they think they've got us about the globe Earth because of sunsets or something. I can almost guarantee it. Because the thing is, you don't get to be a young Earth creationist without being incredibly gullible at some point in your life. And if what you stumble into happens to include flat Earth, I think you'll end up falling for it. Because fundamentally, there's no, special extra evidentiary basis for, the globe Earth that isn't at least as strong in evolution. There just isn't. Evolution is at least as strong, as well supported as the globe shape of the Earth. It's been that well supported for less time, granted. But fundamentally, we don't have any more question about whether or not universal ancestry is true and whether or not our theories about evolution are, good models for reality than we do about the shape of the Earth. I don't know, Jackson, do you disagree?
No.
Oh, thank you.
I'm in full agreement.
I do appreciate that. Also, hey, we've gone way over our normal amount. We've gone over 6.5 minutes. Actually, about 6 minutes. We're doing pretty well, yeah.
Because your cells are busy making new copies of not only that 98%, but the 2% we figured out what it does, all of it, and passing it on to every cell in your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's how DNA replication works, or genome replication. Hey, good Jackson.
Yes.
Are there parts of your DNA that we know don't do anything besides try to get extra copies of themselves made every time the genome is replicated? Does such a thing exist?
So there are parts of the genome that exist that don't try to
They don't really
have
do
extra copies of
anything
themselves.
except
They don't do anything.
try to get the cell to make extra copies of themselves when the genome is replicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you got ALUs
Mhm.
and long
Long non-repeats or
rep-
something.
Yeah, the long repeats, the short repeats, all those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So whole classes of genomic parasites that we know through testing don't do anything, but they keep getting copied anyway.
Yep.
Weird. It's almost like if that's true, then it's logically impossible for there not to be junk DNA.
And there are regions of your DNA, like the regions that you look at for like paternity tests are these like hypervariable loci. So it's things that like little short segments that get copied over and over and over, and you have a very similar signature in your DNA to your parents, other people closely related to you. But like these don't code for anything.
Weird.
Yeah, because otherwise we couldn't use them for like, as a paternity test.
Okay, but how about this?
That wouldn't work.
What if the purpose of those parts of the genome is to allow for paternity tests? What if that's what they're for?
I suppose that it could be the case that like Maury is like divinely inspired,
Or maybe Maury is God, and he
Maury could be God.
He created the junk DNA specifically so that he would have a topic for his show about who's the father.
That is possible theoretically. I suppose. I mean, that needs to be incorporated into someone's theology. I think
we need Maurytheism. That's the new religion for a new age. Maurytheism. Maury created humans specifically to get dramatic TV. That's how it works.
That sounds like a Beetle Moses comic.
Let's see. Hillhugger for $2 redos says AIG are a jagged jumble of junk, and you know what? I'll take a drink because again, I like this beer. I'm a little thirsty. I appreciate it. Blue Colorado Sukin for $1.99 says Yarth creationists rely on answers in Genesis, sacks of D. I'll take a drink for that too. Why not? And Rokshina says $1.99 says AIG is a soggy sack of messy diarrhea. I'm not taking a drink for that. That's gross and also not about dicks. I do appreciate it though.
I have not read the word diarrhea in a very long time until I was reading the book Crimes Against Humanity recently, and it came up, and it jarred me because I've not read that word in quite a long time.
It is a weirdly spelled word.
It is, yeah.
And do remember, we only need two. Oh, now we only need one more super chat for the explanation of the champagne, and also we are getting close. We only I believe 61 members, and now we're at 31, which means that we should only need 30. But again, YouTube lies, so I don't want to say that with too much confidence. But Josh McGee's for $5 says humans created a game. Humans created for game shows confirmed. I mean, technically, I think that's talk shows, but either way, yeah, basically, yeah, confirmed. And then Sharon Lane.
It's a game show where everyone loses.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Daytime talk shows really are shows where everyone loses.
Oh.
Sharon Lane for $5 says AIG is a bag of broken light bulbs. I'm not sure I follow that one, but you know what? I'm okay with it. So we get it. We did it. We got the super chat goal. Thank you very much, everyone who super chatted to help us achieve that. So, why did I buy anticipatory champagne, and why do I think it's a good time for you to do so too? So, I bought champagne in anticipation of him dying. And if you don't think you know who him is, yes, you do. So why do I think it's probably going to happen, or why do I feel reasonable in getting anticipatory champagne, such that like I don't think it's going to happen like 5 or 6 years. Yeah, it might be. I don't think it's going to happen on the order of years, but I might be wrong. I think it might be on the order of months. And I say this for a few reasons. 1, the obvious cognitive decline. 2, shortness of breath. 3, the bad balance. 4, the extreme cankles. 5, the frequent bruising consistent with things like blood thinners. And yeah, that's basically it. Those big 5 things. You know what all of those seem to be signs of? Severe congestive heart failure. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, severe congestive heart failure.
Yes.
Also, he's recently said things like, I want to get into heaven, and they tell me I'm not doing so well. So it seems like somebody's wrestling with his mortality.
What an odd thing to say.
I know. And so, I am of the granted, this is hopefulness. I could very well be overly optimistic. I have been known to do that before. But I do think that there's a pretty decent chance that,
and it could be also because of the increased use of like diuretics that chronic kidney disease is also part of this.
Yep, that's definitely a possibility as well.
And we can only think about it, Yep. You can only imagine.
Now, some people have said, yeah, but his replacement won't be much better. I know. I'm still going to take the win. I'm still going to pop open that $60 bottle of French champagne.
Dubs where you can.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take a day to celebrate. I'm going to buy some fancy food. I'm going to drink my expensive for wine champagne. I recognize it's not super expensive champagne, but like I barely ever buy wine, and when I do, it's usually dirt cheap because I don't care. But not this time. So there you go. That is why I have got some anticipatory champagne, and I think you might want to as well. Now, of course, if you can't afford that, just get some other sparkling thing. Or if you don't drink, you can get some sparkling cider. I don't know. You do you. You know how you like to celebrate. Just don't go overboard. Don't hurt yourself. But also, Joshua Geese has gifted 10 Dapper Dinosaur memberships. So I'm going to take 10 drinks. While I do so, Jackson, I need you to explain helminthoid ignites or something like that.
Oh, okay. I can do that. So, helminthoid ignites is an ichnofossil. It is a trace fossil that dates to I think it's about 555 million years ago. And the idea based on the shape and the size of these trace fossils is that they were made by some kind of progenitor that was something small, kind of ovular, that had a defined head and tail region, or anterior and posterior axis. And it has a gut because these trails are partially filled in. And so the researchers, the paleontologists who worked on this, who knew darn well that this thing was not like a rolling diatom or something on the seafloor or foram or what have you, unlike what the murderer Gunter Beckley said, they figured, this is like an animal because of the shape and the size of these holes and whatnot, or these trails. And so when researchers found Icaria or Eutia in 2017 or 18, something like that, it matched the shape of the progenitor of helminthoid ignites. And fun fact, is actually found with found in association with the helminthoid ignites tracks. So gold standard prediction for evolution.
Thank you very much. That was a very thorough explanation, and I really do appreciate that. I like that I can just pull a random ichno-fossil taxon out of the bag, and there's a fair chance that you're actually going to have something smart to say about it.
I was worried you were going to throw me another Star Wars question or something.
I thought about it, but I thought I'd be nice.
Okay. I appreciate that being nice is Jackson, explain helminthoid ignites.
Well, it is for you. It wouldn't be for most of the people I know.
You could have done
if it were Kip, if it were Kip
Davis
and I was like, Kip, explain helminthoid ignites, I wouldn't know. He wouldn't know a damn thing about it, and that's fine.
You could have done Rusophycus or Diplacnites, both of which are probable arthropod trackways. Treptichnus pedum, which defines the base of the Cambrian.
We can't start a whole ichno-fossil discussion.
Sorry.
Okay. Roshina for 199 says, fancy wine and fancy feast. I don't plan on eating fancy feast in particular, but if I had a cat, maybe I would get that cat fancy. Oh, actually, I was allergic for a very long time to cats, but the last time I was around a cat, I didn't actually have a reaction. I might not be all that allergic anymore.
Nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. I don't like being allergic.
I love my old cat man.
Look, I like cats overall. I think they're cool little critters. And yeah. Also, I think we're within like $5 or $10 of Bent Gets Free Pizza. Cash for $5 says, not saying I won't celebrate, it will involve booze, but the Palantir couch humper taking over is only worth an Evan Williams black label from me with a pride flag. I mean, look, I get it. But again, I'm going to take the wins that I can and celebrate them because, I mean, if I don't take the wins where I find them, I'm just going to fall apart. So I'm taking the wins. The most destructive man in American history, the most destructive American in American history, will hopefully be dead within a year. That's just a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
All of it and passing it on to the next generation. And why would evolution even do that?
What do you mean, why would evolution do that? That's how reproduction works, Charles. Is your question, why would evolution take into account the way reproduction works? Is that your question, Charles? What are you actually asking me right now? Jackson, do you have any idea how else I should interpret that other than why would evolution take into account the way that genomes are replicated?
I would be willing to bet that Charles, that Bad Jackson here does not understand that evolution is fundamentally just about reproduction. I'd be willing to make that bet.
Okay, that might be. Yeah, maybe he just doesn't make the connection, so he doesn't see how stupid of a question that is. Oh. They say there are no stupid questions. Yes, there are. That was one of them. I'm sorry, but the degree to which a question is stupid does depend on who's asking it, right? If this were like someone in 7th grade taking a biology course, that would be a great question. Yeah. This is a PhD giving a lecture about evolution. He should know better. Oh, my goodness, Joshua McGee's just gifted 20 Dapper Dinosaur memberships. Okay. I definitely don't have enough, but also that's Fancy Avatar and Ben Gets Free Pizza. So, nice. Here goes an attempt at 20 drinks. I'm going to have to get a new beer in the meantime. So in which case, Jackson.
Oh, no.
Please explain the intricacies of the anatomy of the whale penis.
Oh, I mean, it's pretty similar to our own penis.
Well, get going. Not Talk really. About the cavernosa colossum or whatever. I'm drunk. Go.
Well, I mean, for whale peni, they have all the same, materials within them that other mammal penises have. Like, you have epididymis, you have vas deferens, you have your urethra. You have all your seminal vesicles, all the things that you need to make sperm, and then eject it.
Get another beer. Keep going.
Penises are intermittent organs, are more diverse kind of across animals more broadly. Mammal penises are well, okay, that's not entirely true. I should say placental mammal penises are all pretty similar. If you look at, actually, I really don't know about the penises of marsupials. That's a sentence I never thought I would say. But for monotremes, they have the echidna has a four-headed penis, but only the heads on, I think it's the left side work, because I believe only the the female echidna's left ovaries work, if I remember correctly. And then there are intermittent organs among other amniotes. Whether or not you call them a penis is, I guess, up for debate. I guess it would depend on how you define that. In other groups of animals, right? So, or like sharks have claspers. The males have claspers, and that is their intermittent organ because they do internal
Those aren't
fertilization.
penises, Jackson.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. The intermittent organs are in other animals more broadly. You wouldn't really call those penises. And then if you look over at like arthropods, for instance, they again don't really have penises. They have intermittent organs that they've exapted from a variety of different structures. So like millipedes use their one of their sets of limbs as the intermittent organ. Cephalopods have a one of the arms that they use. Trying to think who else.
That's okay, because I finished.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, thank you very much for that wonderful deep dive into something that I know is everyone's favorite subject. And I know that because humans have been drawing penises on things for tens of thousands of years.
Nice.
Yeah. There was even a penis drawn on Mars. NASA says it was an accident. Yeah, okay. Sure thing, NASA.
It sounds like something NASA would say.
It does, right? It sounds like something what someone would say after it turns out that the intern had pre-programmed a path into a Mars rover that just happened to make a dick.
It's kind of like when Sam Turvey said that he didn't name the trilobite Han Solo after the Star Wars character. He named it after the Han dynasty of China, and it was the last member of its lineage. It's like, okay, sure you did.
Great. And I'll bet those like 6 or 7 species named after Barack Obama were actually named after other things.
Right.
You know, it's a terrible waste of resources and energy. If
It's not actually all that terrible. That's why we really only see selection against expanding genomes in high population species, which again is a prediction based on evolutionary biology and population genetics. I want to keep hammering home the degree to which we actually do understand this and can, in fact, make accurate predictions about it. Just want to put that out there.
these are unnecessary vestiges. Not this kind of gene.
Oh. It's like he looked forward in time to 2025 to a controversial gene commercial. God, I hate this timeline. I still don't know who that woman is who was in the jeans commercial. And I don't want to know.
Sydney Sweeney?
Don't tell me anything about her. I don't care.
Oh, I saw one movie
stop.
with her in it. It wasn't a very good movie.
Now
though.
I know she's an actress. Thanks, Jackson.
I have not watched Euphoria, though.
Now I know what movie she's... Jackson, what part of I don't want to know was hard for you?
Okay, but her birthday...
No! I will mute you.
I don't actually know her birthday.
I don't want to know anything about that because I don't freaking care. Oh, there's so many things that are actually important that I do care about, and I can't add jeans commercials.
Like Sydney Sweeney being in other movies?
No. I don't want to hear about any of it. We're going to hit play. And I'm also going to take a drink for a joke that didn't land.
I got that from my friend John Hefner in East Texas, the East Texas.
Okay.
Creationist. Have you ever met John Hefner at Carl's place?
You ever met... Oh, wait, at Carl's? Does he mean Carl Baugh? Does he mean Carl Baugh?
Oh, he might. East Texas? That's true. He might mean Carl Baugh.
Oh, no. Charles, you don't want to be associated with Carl Baugh. Even among creationists, that dude's a pariah. And for good reason.
I doubt that Charles Jackson is reading, like, ICR articles that are like, don't associate with this guy, please. He makes us look bad.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Oh my goodness, though. That's dumb.
Yeah, Carl Baugh, like out in Glen Rose.
All right, so I have to say, it is possible, but not for certain, that we have enough memberships to get a new emoji.
Woo!
Now, here's the thing. Again, YouTube loves to lie to me about this, right? So I'm checking. Doesn't give me the option. But now it's saying I need 36 more members. I definitely don't need 36 more members. That's not what's happening. All right, I'm going to check back a few times. I think we have enough, and I think I'll be able to do it. But even if we don't, we should be able to have enough. If maybe a few more people give, like, I don't know, on Saturday or something. I'm hoping that we have enough. It's also possible that if I give, like, the last of my free memberships on, like, Thursday, that might do it. So, like, yeah, just... I hate the degree to which they will just lie. Oh, now it says I have 414 members, which is different from the 439 that they're giving me on the total members. I'm so confused. I hate YouTube on the memberships thing. Well, we're close either way. We're a lot closer than we were. And like I said, I was never confident. And yeah, I don't know. Tatcha for $2 says, you tell him about cognito hazards, Dapper. I've told you about cognito hazards, right?
Remind me.
Cognito hazards are things that are hazardous if you know them. Hence, cognito hazard. So, like, learning about certain things you just shouldn't learn about. There are some things man was not meant to know.
So, like... Wait, hold on. When you, like... So, like, an alligator is a cognito hazard.
No, it's a regular hazard. Because knowing about the alligator doesn't make it more dangerous.
Oh, wait, something is more dangerous if you know about it.
It's really only dangerous to be if you happen to know about it.
What's an example?
Numerous SCPs, kerning, Wrangler or Gene commercial controversies.
That's the
no,
the slanted
shut
letter.
up! No! Don't talk about cognito. What about cognito hazards is so hard for you to understand? Don't talk about the cognito hazards. Don't tell people about the cognito hazards.
Okay, wait, I have one more question.
No!
It is
because now I don't
unrelated
trust
to the
you.
cognito hazards.
I don't believe you.
You mentioned ultra French earlier, and I still don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's because it's also a cognito hazard.
Oh! I tried looking it up, and I got a bunch of very odd returns.
It's like you're being spiteful towards my audience. I don't get it. It's like, hey guys, would you like to know about all the cognito hazards? All of them? Would you like for your life to become measurably worse in the next few minutes because of things that Good Jackson, allegedly Good Jackson, is about to talk about? No. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, this man did intentionally appear in a documentary that identified a wooden sailing ship as a dreadnought battleship. Oh, Charles Jackson. What a weird guy. All right, here we go.
A very unusual and wonderful brother and creationist. Well, anyway, another Calvin and Hobbes.
Great. Oh, someday, Jackson, we're going to watch one of these videos. And Chuck here is going to actually show us a real source that matters. One of these days.
I think you're wrong. I think you are simply mistaken on that, my good Dapper.
Okay, to be fair, this is less me making a prediction and more me making a statement of aspiration.
Oh, you're just hoping, just putting that out into the...
yeah, I'm manifesting a real source.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. I'm going to use the secret.
Well...
Okay, but Jillian, I didn't tell him about kerning. Jillian says, the point is he can tell you about actresses if you tell him about kerning, but I didn't. I said specifically don't learn about kerning.
You did say don't look it up, and I did not take your advice. I looked it up.
Exactly.
And now my life is the worse off for it.
Mm-hmm. See, I was giving out the warnings like, hey, don't look into this stuff. You don't need to know it. And yet, people do it. Because for some reason...
Too close.
Yeah. People love to fly too close to the sun. They love to learn about Cthulhu. They love to fly off to meet Azathoth. Freaking humans.
Ag! A snow snake's got me! How do you like that, Michael? Where's Michael here with the snow snake?
actually do like the idea of a snow snake, and if I lived in a place where it snowed, which I would never do, if I did, I might now make a snow snake. Any place where it snows, that means that the temperature is too cold for most of your body to exist, which means you shouldn't be there.
It's
I agree with this. That's why I live in Louisiana.
See?
Horrible inner teeth on its separately moving upper jawbones are pulling me down its frigid gullet.
Actually, it's the lower jawbones that move separately. Calvin. I don't know why I'm trying to correct science in a Calvin and Hobbes short strip, but like, I guess it's my job to correct science, so here we are. I'm gonna take a drink from me being an idiot for trying to correct science in Calvin and Hobbes. Yeah, he hasn't mentioned encode yet, which is weird.
That's true.
And predictions don't carry over to the next month, so I might not be able to drink for that prediction.
Run for your life! At least I have a life, unlike some weirdos I know.
Yeah, you know what? I gotta say, any kid who's making a snow snake, that kid has a life. That is a fun time right there, or at least I imagine it is.
I suppose if I had 2 X chromosomes, I'd feel hostile too.
I don't get that punchline.
It's because woman.
Yeah,
Because
I don't get
woman. Don't you?
What?
But Dapper, woman. That's the joke is woman.
Girls,
Come on, Dapper.
girls don't make things out of snow? Because I've seen
Dapper,
girls make things out of snow. I don't get it.
The joke is women.
Okay, so the joke is just sexism?
It's women. Dapper, I don't understand why you're not understanding the humor. He's a humorist, is what he is. He's a humorist.
You know, I actually normally like the punchlines in Calvin and Hobbes comics, but this one it fell completely flat. Narumda puts for $2 says ultra French. Conlang dangerous if you know French. Exactly. Then Matt the Navigator just gifted 5 more Dapper Dinosaur memberships. My goodness, we might actually get there. I'm really hoping we do. I would love to have another emoji. Assuming that YouTube isn't lying to me again, which again, it might be. Tasha for $5. Oh wait, no. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator gifted 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships. Yeah, so we're going to take a drink for that in a second, because first I want to read this super chat and then take the 5 drinks. Passion for $5 says, I told my friend who lived in France and speaks French fluently about Ultra French and watched her brain break over dinner. Amazing. Oh, spreading the misery. It's like the theme song for that League of Legends show. Oh, the misery. Anyway, here's 5 drinks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Are you an Arcane enthusiast, Dapper?
Oh, yeah, that's what it was called, Arcane. I still haven't seen season 2.
I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed both of them. I thought season 2 was even better than season 1.
I might have to rewatch season 1 because it's been a while. So I don't know.
Also, it's just good enough to rewatch. Highly recommend. But season 2 has, no spoiler, but one of the characters becomes one of what I consider one of the more interesting characters in like any fictional thing I've read or watched. So, highly recommend.
You know what? One of the best things I've watched in a while that I watched recently is. Well, for one thing, there's weapons, but everyone's talking about weapons, so I'm not going to, because everyone's already. Yeah, it was great.
So
but
good.
The other thing that no one is talking about is season 3 of Hammer and Bolter. Sorry, episode 3 of season 1 of Hammer and Bolter. That's what I meant.
I don't know what that is.
It is. Okay, this is a thing that shouldn't exist, and I definitely am not paying for it, so I'll let you imagine how I got access to this. But this is a 9-episode anthology on Warhammer Plus. I think it's stupid that Warhammer Plus even exists. I think there are few enough entries into the franchise that maybe this stuff should be made available on a more popular streaming website or just on YouTube. But hey, I'm not in charge of the weird business strategy of Games Workshop. And apparently their stock keeps going up, so what do I know? But anyway, episode 3 is the story of a runt herd telling 2 boys about Old Baelai. And it's basically an intro to the entire story of Commissar Yarrick from his first encounter with the orcs all the way until after or basically we get almost all the way up until his death. And it sets up the story of his death very well. And yeah, it's a story I really enjoy. And as it was driven home to me today that Gazkul Mag Uruk Thraka, sorry, War Boss Gazkul Mag Uruk Thraka was right when he said to Commissar Yarrick, good enemies are hard to find. It's very true. Anyway, and yeah, Tatch says Hammer and Bolter rules. Yeah, there's some really good stuff in there. It's obviously uneven because it's, you know, an anthology written by different people with entirely different themes. But yeah, episode 3, I highly recommend. Okay, we're gonna get a tiny little bit more Jackson in here, then we're just gonna start wrapping up, and then it's over to my Discord for the last day of Power Rangers.
Because girls have 2 X chromosomes, and guys just have an X and a Y.
Well, unless, you know, they're
the joke is
XXY.
women.
Or what if someone's X0? Yeah.
Or have a meta female, so you have multiple X chromosomes.
Yeah. I think the reason the audience finds this funny is transphobia. That's my guess.
Is it? I mean, it looks like a lot of fairly
Young people sitting in an
if,
evangelical Protestant fundamentalist church.
I don't know, dude. I know I certainly wouldn't have like it if I like
Were you raised in a church like this?
Not like that, goodness no.
Yeah, I was. I can
parents,
promise you those kids are transphobes.
Even being raised in a conservative family, I like never heard about trans people until they were invented in 2016. So yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's it. Maybe this is just before trans people were invented.
It could be. It could be the case.
I mean, except that, you know, that's not when trans people were invented.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
That's the big problem there. That's the fly in the ointment, if you will.
But
Jackson, what do you have coming up? Because it is wrap up time.
Well, my editor has returned from vacation because that's something I have to let him do apparently. And we can now edit the Cauliflower's Tale so we can get that out whenever we get it out. And then there's only like just like a handful of Ancestors' Tales left. We're so close to the end. I've had a really cool few conversations with people in the last couple weeks. I had an anthropologist on named Natalia Reagan who was very cool. And then the next week, which was last week, I had a woman on who's a data scientist named Andrea Jones Roy, and she was also very cool. They were both very cool ladies. And we talk about the statistics or some statistics around politics, as well as the Arab Spring and a number of other interesting topics. So if all that sounds interesting, you should go check out those chats.
The Arab Spring is something I haven't thought about in a while.
In 13 years, you might say.
Yeah, basically. Let's see. Tirana says some of the Hammer and Bolter stories are pretty good, and some of the animation is even better than the stuff you do. Yeah, I mean, it's professionally produced. Of course it is. I'm under no illusions that Hammer and Bolter and a lot of the Warhammer Plus stuff isn't doing better than I am. Although I will say that I thought the Exodite animation was only There were some parts where there was clipping issues, and some of the rigs weren't super well attached, and like there was just some weirdness going on with some of the stuff from the Exodite. But overall, I still really liked it. Anyway, what's coming up here? So on Thursday, we are watching, or I'm premiering, Walter White Doesn't Understand Linguistics. Yep. Which is part 3 of the Walter White series. That is the final part. So that'll be at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Come hang out for that. It'll be a good time, I think. The thumbnail includes the opening of Beowulf, if you like Beowulf. So there's that. Let's see. Then on Saturday, so Saturday is normally Dapper Reacts, and normally I would have Kip and Vishanti on, but both of them are going to be gone, which puts me in a little bit of a bind. So instead, I have invited Chesh to come on and do some Tisdall Tuesday on a Saturday. So the plan right now is that we are going to do that instead of the typical taking a look at, in this case, Brian Thomas on the reliability of the Bible as a whole. So let's see. Then let's see. Then on next Tuesday, we're going to be back to Kent with Bent. And so that'll be at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And that is what we are doing. So let's see. I think that covers it. Let's see. Then Erachamian says, so, and then also follows that up with, assuming the slang meaning I was given for move is correct. I don't know what the slang meaning for move is, but it means defend the young dyer, like someone who dyes cloth, which I am not familiar with that. As far as a slang, what is the slang supposed to mean? Yeah, this might not be a surprise. This might or may not be a surprise to everyone, but I don't know all of the slang in Klingon. Jackson does, though. Good Jackson knows all the slang in Klingon. He actually only knows the slang in Klingon.
I don't know anything at all about Klingon. I'm going to continue onward into that life.
Well, Erachamian, I'm sorry, I don't know what the redyer means in slang. That's odd. Hey, let me know what it means. But we are going to get out of here. Thank you so much. If you are interested, we are going to be going, well, if you have access to it, over on the Discord server, we are going to be watching episodes 7, 8, 9, and 10 of Cosmic Fury, which are to date the final 4 episodes of Power Rangers that exist. This is it. We are done with Power Rangers. I don't think we're actually going to be watching something next Saturday, because I want to have time to get ready for Chesh's next show on that same day. And also, Vishanti will be very angry with me if she's not here to watch Godzilla with us. And I don't want to deal with that. So, for those 2 reasons, we're not going to watch something next Saturday. But this Tuesday, we are finishing Power Rangers. We have watched every single one of the almost 1,000 episodes of Power Rangers, and like the 3 or 4 movies, depending on how you count them. So, yeah, it's been a long process, and we're finally here today. So if you've ever watched any Power Rangers with us, please do come by and hang out as we finish up the entire 30-plus year history of the franchise. So, yep. But with that, I think the only thing I have left is to say that furthermore, ICE must be abolished. Good night, everybody. Hey, before you leave, I just want to take a second to thank my patrons and channel members, especially those pledging $20 or above. Ben Tovand, Tapioca Weasel, Arrow Dodger, Caleb Anderson, Dan Sheedy, Elleron Teller, Phil Cavara, Ian Chen, Kelvin Brostock Van Manen, Landon Knoll, Mabdy Babdy, Sphincter of Doom, Volis, North Texas Fossils, and John Ackerman. It's because of my channel members and patrons whom you're seeing on screen that this channel can stay afloat. Without you, it would all shut down. If you want to join the team, there's a link to join the channel below this video, and there's a link to join the Patreon in the description. On the Patreon, you can get a 10% discount for pledging annually, and either way, you get early access to virtually all of my scripted videos, often 3 to 5 months before they come out for the general public. Thanks for watching.